Welcome to PG State of Mind, everybody. We're with trainer, mentor Chauncey Williams. He brought this idea up to me a couple days ago, and this is something I guess that got me started with this whole channel. So it segue right into everything I got going on right now. He wanted to talk about the impact that sports has on furthering your career after you finish, and what that can bring and what you can add on to your resume as you already have it. So I'm gonna let you take this from here, and then we just gonna have a conversation about it. So you can go ahead.
Yeah, I was just I've been following your Point Guard State of Mind channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just been watching it. I'm chilling now. Like I just exercise outside, work out. I still be at the beach pushing the brick wall mentality workout
Mm-hmm.
for myself, right? Just to strive. And I had glimpses and memories of stuff that I see either with yourself or other people I've trained. And I see the sand dune, or I walk past the gym and be like, oh, I can remember these moments.
Mm-hmm.
But further in that conversation, like I said, I've been watching your channel. Then I was watching the other day in the gym in Baltimore with somebody, and you were like doing drills, and I was like, wow, he's still hitting everything like like he trained it. And it was a person that either looked like they was your age or older.
Right.
They were trying to follow in your footsteps, but they didn't have the bop, right? The hoop.
Yeah.
They didn't have it. I was like, they was doing it, but they just like, no, this ain't my thing, right? They
Mm-hmm.
with you. And you made it look so easy, but I thought about the process of and the maturation on how you develop. And it just takes me to this space of just looking at the whole development. I've
Mm-hmm.
been knowing you before the eighth grade, but I started training with you in the eighth grade.
Right.
And just recently I know you moved to Baltimore, the Baltimore area,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in PG County. But then I also thought about, I said, wow, he's an accountant, right? He got your
Mm-hmm.
degree. And I think about almost 2 weeks ago, I got a call and an email from a company
Mm-hmm.
for a reference for you. And I was like, hold up, I wasn't his boss. I just mentor him in sports. But then my role in the schools now is a college and career facilitator for K through 12. And I do this all the time for students, right?
Right.
I get an email from somebody, um, reference for scholarship, recommendation for a job, right? Help kids with
Mm-hmm.
their resume. So then being able to do that for you was full circle because I was like, oh, they need a reference from me. What am I going to write about? And what I did was I made the reference pertinent to the training from the
Mm-hmm.
development of you in the from the eighth grade summer going to the ninth grade, all the way up to high school into college,
Right.
right? To graduation. And I did that. Then I was on a call with someone from that company for about another 40 minutes, but I was able to talk without no notes and talk about how sports and playing for a program like the Muskegon Big Reds,
Mm-hmm.
coach like Coach Guy, that whole program was significant in your development
Mm-hmm.
and how you are a team player, adaptive communicator,
Mm-hmm.
persistent, resilient, right?
Mm-hmm.
How you use time wisely. All those components came together and just being able to sit there, but also having conversations with you out throughout your time in your career where you
Mm-hmm.
were on your previous job and you had mentioned like, hey, I think I want to do something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to just ask you that question. Like, you're in a space, you're making decent money.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to pivot to the new space of like, hey, I want to try something else?
I think the main thing that I could kind of tell, I guess a couple of things, but the main thing I could kind of tell was I feel like everybody at my job got comfortable with where they were. And me being younger, and then kind of how I started everything with the company that I was at, me kind of feeling like, okay, this is just my first stop. This is not my forever stop. I don't want to be here forever. And there's nothing that had to do anything with the company itself. It's more so me, like, I know what I'm capable of or what I could be capable of in the future. I know this is like a stepping stone, but that part was like, yeah, I can see people here are here comfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. But me, that's not where I'm at in my life. Other people, of course, you might be towards the end of their career. They might be just like, all right, I might just want to end here, comfortable, retire, whatever here. That's not what I was looking for. So that was the main thing. And then the other thing, I've kind of realized that over the years, I've been more acceptable of change and kind of adapting to new situations. And I felt like at that point it was again more comfortable thing. It's like, all right, I could be doing something else. I feel like I could be maybe not the smartest person in the room, or everybody not always coming to me for knowing how to do everything, not even just financial wise, but um, just advice about anything going on and talking to patients or anything. But I felt like I had kind of reached my peak in the medical field. So why not? I know accounting and numbers is transactional across the board. Everybody needs somebody to run some numbers. So I felt like, all right, well, let's see what else is out there. Let me see what else I can do. Yeah, I took a shot with it, and it happened to fall in my lap of real estate, which my family company. It just
Yeah.
kind of it just happened right along where it was. So yeah, it was definitely a blessing, but blessing on both ends to get the experience there, and then also to be able to find something that was somewhere in my realm of something I was already familiar with.
Yeah. So I want to ask this question. Did you always,
Mm-hmm.
I know you was always good in math. Like you always
Mm-hmm.
had a math aptitude. Were
Mm-hmm.
you always like thinking about being an accountant?
So what when you asked that, that's crazy because somebody just asked me like um dealing with accounting, they're like, oh, you must like math. I was like, I mean, I was okay in math, but math was more so like that's the basic stuff. Once you get to accounting, it's more so, which what I'm dealing with right now, it's more so making sure stuff match. It ain't necessarily about all the equations. Like you got calculators and Excel spreadsheets for all that stuff. Now, I'm not the one putting those formulas together and doing all that. I'm making sure whatever came in went out somewhere else and it matches and is plugged in somewhere to where somebody can follow along. And if you, for instance, ask me, okay, on my house, how much I've been paying or where all my money going, I can tell you, okay, it's going here, here, here. I got the receipts for this, this, and this. It's coming from the bank, hitting this day, like all that stuff. And you can get an outline of everything that you got going on. So yeah, math was part of it, but I think it's more of like we was talking about just the adaptation of just like, okay, this number not showing here. All right, now where should this number be at? And if it's not there, the problem solving skills or whatever I need to figure out where that number is, that's more so the importance of it, which I fell in love with. And it definitely keeps my mind going because it's always like a never ending. Once you kind of start, it's like you just keep going and taking next level and steps, digging and digging to try to find out again where your number is at. So I think that it is no gray area in that. I think that also makes sense a lot for me.
Okay. Yeah. So it seems like more like you're in a space of if the company need to be audited or a client need to be audited,
Yep,
everything will line up in a way where the numbers will say, this is what I've done. This is what
exactly.
I look like over 12, 24,
Mm-hmm.
3 month, 3 year period in that
Right.
space. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going around in all these areas because like saying I've been in a lot of spaces myself in my career too. And
Mm-hmm.
just the transition of being fully myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the power in I just want to go through something with you and just thinking about just your sports career, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because it's tied to like what you're doing, right? I really
Right.
look at it and just the transition of you. And I can remember I go out to the beach every day, right? I run out
Mm-hmm.
and people see. So some people show up just to talk to me. It's good,
Right.
right?
And
Like
I
I
still
know
get the
Coach
pictures
Chauncey
on the
gonna be out
daily. So
there,
yeah.
and I still go by the title of Coach Chauncey, even though I work in administration support and do all
Mm-hmm.
these other things, because I feel like that relationship is more connecting, like Uncle Chauncey, right?
Right. Right.
Right. So I'm an Unc age now. I'm Unc. Like it's a big Unc. I just don't look
right.
like it, right? But for
Right.
the people
Right.
that know me, they do. And I wanna start here where I can remember some transitional spaces and times in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember I know you were fond of my nephew that played,
Mm-hmm.
and he's still coaching, but he wasn't doing it at the time. He was doing some things in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad had reached out to me, like, hey, you know how to do all that, Chauncey. You work out with my son. I was like, well, I'm a little different, right? I was like,
Mm-hmm.
different. What I do is I try to break people down, right?
Right.
And I can remember, I think you were entering ninth grade, and I said, we
Mm-hmm.
got to go to the beach for like 21 days. And I remember Lamar had a game because I think I was
Mm-hmm.
coaching at Loftus. I was coaching at Loftus, and
Yep.
he used to play at Roosevelt, right?
Yep.
And we used to play all the time. I think we used to beat them too all the time too.
Mm.
Marty, like, man, you got all them guards, they pressuring, they running
right.
at us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that morning, me and you worked out. before I
Yes.
coached the game, right?
Yes, we did.
So we worked out, and your mom had came to me in the gym, right? She said this,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew what it was gonna do to you. She said, Linwood came home at about 9:30, and it was three. I think this day the game was at
That
3
game was in
o'clock.
the afternoon.
She say, he ain't woke up yet. I said, he might not wake up till tomorrow. And she said,
Boy.
what are you doing to him? Say, is he gonna die? I say, no, we're doing something that he'll always see the development in himself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I seen that you did that, and she said you woke up the next day, and
Mm-hmm.
I called your dad and say, I think he ready for anything that come at him. So
Right.
I want to start in that space with you because you've been around, you're young, you've been around spaces where you've been challenged,
Mm-hmm.
right? For your last name, you've been challenged for who you are, not being the tallest, not
Mm-hmm.
being the strongest, and you found a way to get a free college education as an athlete,
Mm-hmm.
make a way as a African American male in an
Mm-hmm.
industry where we're not recognized. When we think about that, where a black
True.
male is an accountant or excelling in areas of mathematics in a professional way
Mm-hmm.
outside of education, right?
Right.
So I just go back to these spaces and think about the transitions and just starting in high school. What was that transition
Mm-hmm.
like when it came to sports, and how does that connect to your work now? Playing
So
with Coach Guy and just being training and how you were working so hard.
so the other podcast episode that we shot, I definitely need to upload that, which has that story in there. We're talking about the beginning of the first time we trained together in the beach, and yeah, that that memory will forever stick with me, and it definitely set the foundation for everything, of course, moving forward. Um, Talking about going to high school, man, it was it was a very it was a quick decision that happened because I was initially at Mona Shores. The people who know from Mesquite or from our hometown know, and me and my good friend still to this day, Jared Pittman. We grew up together, played sports together, and we were in a summer school class. I think it was like technology class or something like that at Mona Shores in the summertime, going into eighth grade, and that summer was such a pivotal moment just because Coach Guy ended up leaving Muskegon Heights and going to Muskegon. That that week span of when it happened, and we both went to our dads, and we was like, Muskegon Heights might have been a stretch, you know. Of course, when we came up and everything like that, they didn't want to necessarily put us in a fire like that. But Muskegon was a little bit out of the range, but not also so away from everything. So we had the conversation. It was like, bro, I think what if like KG going to Muskegon, like might be able to do that. It's like, all right, we're gonna go home and talk to our parents and see what we say. I think the next day we both was like, oh yeah, it's a done deal. We going, it's happening. And I think with both our parents being one supportive, but two also having that connection with KG, like they trust him and they trust what of course he believe in and what he's produced over the years. So it's not like they just sending us somewhere and we just want to go somewhere and have fun or whatever. It's like, no, you're gonna learn some stuff mentally, first of all, because if anybody ever told you KG conditioning is probably harder than a lot of college conditioning. So that right there mentally is gonna break you down. And then once you get through that, again with the beach, once you get through that, you almost get through anything. But also the part of just being learning so much from that organization and just like, all right, this might be high school, but we running this like it's a professional business. Like we in the playoffs, you don't have your phone before the game. Like your phone is going in a bag, and Coach Josh got that bag, and you're not seeing that phone. You better bring an iPod or something else. But phone connection, you are locked in. This is basketball, but it's also a business. Like they take this as serious, and you're gonna learn some other lessons outside of just we just finna roll the basketballs out and we just gonna play today. No, it's like you're gonna learn some life lessons again that stuck with me still to this day. And I think to the last part, I think of your question was the black people in finances or in accounting at all. Um, I think the things that translate for me the most is the attention to detail. Like we talked about again, accounting is more so like, all right, these numbers need to match somewhere. It could be one little thing that's off, but that one little thing could be for $5. It could be for $500. Like you don't never know, but those attention to detail on little things that you need to keep up with, um, those play a big part. Even though a lot of people might not see them, but just the consistency of the 21 days that we did multiple number of times. Um, Speaking of that, one of your former teammates, Shauna, asked me about that maybe a couple months ago or something like that. She was like, "How many y'all did the 21 days thing like a couple times in the summer?" Well, yeah, we used to do that consistently. And then once you get to 21, it's like, all right, well, we can go another 21. You already built the consistency.
Yeah.
And doing the little attention to detail things every day, you build that the history, and then you build the consistency of doing that every day. And then everything else, again, you can get through that. Everything else is like, all right, I didn't already did this. Everything else is a cakewalk at that point, because you just translate that mentality of how you was staying consistent every day. Like, okay, I'm getting up at the same time. Maybe eating the same breakfast every morning, but I'm also pushing myself mentally on the court and off the court of that consistency building up. So yeah, everything translated. And when you brought that up to me, like I mentioned earlier, that was the main reason why I started this channel. Like, okay, I didn't know what I was going to do with just having a sports background and not really having a long job history.
Yes.
So I thought of what other things that I have been through that could translate, because any business is run like a team. It might not be the point guard, shooting guard, everything like that, but people have their roles and people play a part, and everybody's held accountable in some sort of fashion. So yeah, all that stuff translated, and I didn't realize it until we had that conversation around last year or before I moved out here, and I didn't know everything translated how I did.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this to you. I'm a big Michigan State fan. I love Mateen
Mm-hmm.
Cleaves and Matt Ishma. And
Mm-hmm.
Mateen Cleaves was on the Give Up All the Smoke podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about you in real estate. Matt Ishma's mortgage company owned the Phoenix Suns, and I was in school at the time with them, and he was a great leader. Mateen was, and Mateen was able to predict everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you a real short story. In the summertime, all the athletes and people that go to summer school just be around school, right? So
Right.
you can mingle with everyone. And we lived in these apartments. I'm trying to think, was it not Campus Hill, but one of those ones off Grand River. And they lived
Mm-hmm.
upstairs. We lived downstairs. And some of my
Mm-hmm.
roommates were track teammates and some football players. So we used to play cards every night.
Mm-hmm.
This is after Mateen Cleaves' sophomore year, 96, 97. It's in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about when they lost to Fresno State, Rayford Austin, Terrence Roberson. He's talking. It's
Okay.
like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's only like 4 of us in the room. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember it's like yesterday. And he telling us on how he gonna be the player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna be they gonna win a Big Ten championship. And they gonna win a championship. He going to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
This is when he was a sophomore, right? Before he
Right.
became All-American, all of this. And we not laughing, but we like, it's only a couple of us. I can't remember all the other people in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But he shared that, and then he talked about it on the podcast again. But I remember the day he declared it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was in the room, and it was amazing to be a student at the time, to live through
Right.
it, to go to those games and see it happen, even when he was injured. That his
Mm-hmm.
mindset, like you said, point guard state of mind was great. And college and NBA don't translate all the time. So he's one
Right.
of the best college point guards and still one of the best leaders because that real estate company that Matt Ishmael owns, his father owned it first,
Okay.
and he took it over, and he runs it like a sports team. He runs it like
Mm-hmm.
a sports team. He's the
Mm-hmm.
former point guard. He was a good point guard. Matt Ishmael was when he was in high school. My team was elite. It was like 4 pros in that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's still connected to Matt Ishmael to this day, and he's still using this philosophy of what they did to win the championships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you played in those spaces where you were able to practice with that championship team. And I think the
Yep.
14 team, and then the
Mm-hmm.
15 team, you guys lost in the semifinals,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that gave you an idea of what all that looks like. But then graduating and transcending and making, getting that recognition as a starter,
Mm-hmm.
but also earning your college scholarship. Now, what was that process like when it came to like when you got to the point you getting recruited your senior year, you're a starting point guard, you make all conference, all state,
Mm-hmm.
you get recognized in your region for being this elite point guard,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes to the space of being, hey, I'm gonna choose school. How did that process go?
That I also just talked about on the Wisdom Wednesdays things that I post weekly. Just talking about the things that you can do behind the scenes that nobody sees, and it somehow turns into something later down the line. You never know when that is going to be. But if you again don't put yourself in a position in the beginning or before, then you'll never see it. You won't even be in a position to be able to obtain anything like that. Um, that my senior year, when was this? I don't even remember what game that I remember it was Zeeland East, but it was towards the end of the season. My senior year was the only time I was really getting any official looks. You know, everybody sends you the letters and all come to our camps and all that other stuff. That ain't nothing. You get them from anybody. But when they start sending you stuff like, okay, we need to have a phone call to schedule up a time when we come into the game, that's when it's like, all right, they taking next steps. And in that game that we played Zeeland East, um, I didn't even have a good first half. Now I think about it, I think I was in foul trouble in the beginning of the game because KG told me the coaches was coming. I was like, all right. This is the first time he told me like this. I'm like,
You
all
see,
right,
about to
well,
go on my whole, you're like, I'm about to go on my whole bed.
woo!
About to
I'm
foul out in the first half, huh?
man, I'm so excited. The nerves is running. I'm like excited. I'm nervous, of course, because I'm like, all right, this is my chance. This is my one shot. This is towards the end of the season. I didn't really have any other offers. So at this point, I'm like, all right, well, I got to put it all on the line now. This is kind of now or never. But again, I just took it back to all those times where I'm like, all right, we waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to 5:30 workout before school, going to the beach on Saturdays. Like we doing the 21 days in a row. In the summertime, we there until 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's just not normal things that people do. So I figured, okay, I did all this work and now this is your time. The first half didn't go how you wanted to, but even we was playing terrible as a team. And I think with me having the position that I had my senior year, I was a part of why we wasn't playing good because normally when we won, I played good. If I didn't play good or if I didn't score a lot, that was cool. But me not even being on the floor took a drastic hit to the team. So we go into halftime. I still kind of remember this to this day. And KG was basically, he stood there for a minute. This is how I know still to this day, he's still the same way. If if we playing hard and we down, it's different. He still got the enthusiasm. He like, all right, yeah, y'all on the right path, whatever. But I just got to fix a couple things. Now, when you're not playing hard and y'all get basically dogged out, he ripping the heart out your chest, basically. You peeing down your leg, all that stuff. If y'all know KG, these sayings still are valid to this day. But he walked in the locker room. He was sick about the first half. First of all, while we in the game, he getting on us all the whole first half, and I can't do nothing because I'm in foul trouble. So I'm just sitting on the sideline sick. He coming at halftime. He just stood there for a second. He basically like, I mean, this in y'all hands at this point. If y'all want to lose towards the end of the game, I can only coach y'all so hard. Y'all didn't we prepped y'all. Like I said, this ran like a business. Scout team is a week. Scout that entire week is scout team. So we run through the plays. That ain't nothing we don't know. It's not like we shot all the shots we can shoot. It's nothing really else that we can do or that he can do. It's all on us. He sat there for a minute and he was like, well, it's on y'all hands. Y'all figure this out. And then, of course, it hit me more because I'm like, I got people in the stands watching me. I don't want to make this all about me, but at the same time, this my shot. I can't let me blow it, but I ain't gonna let y'all do this either. So we gotta figure something out. And then I want to say he walked out the locker room. He said a few words, but he didn't stay in there in the locker room like the normal time that he usually do. He kind of walked out, and then we was just kind of sitting there for a minute. And then me and a couple other people, we like, all right, yeah, bro, we ain't going out like this. Like forget what everybody else talking about. They ain't gonna let us. One, we don't lose at home. That's one thing. That record is strong at home, so we're not doing that. But also, we're not gonna fumble this opportunity for one, for me. But then two, we ain't gonna fumble this for ourselves in front of the home team. We ain't doing that. We came on that second half. I think in the third quarter, we scored like 26 points or something like that. We was down 20. We ended up turning the whole. I wish I could pull up the score still to this day. They scored like maybe 6 points in that third quarter. I think we scored like 26 or something like that. Come down to the fourth quarter, still tight because again we had to crawl back from down 20. I think I scored 20 in the second and me, Michael Littlejohn, and Jermaine Galladay, all three of us, and Kari Stimmage or Kari Scott and everybody like that, we put on we turned into different people at that point. We wasn't the same people we was in the first half. That we was getting stops, we was making shots, like we was doing everything. Very abnormal. But again, once we tapped into that different mentality, okay, we did this before. We did the conditioning, we did all the hard stuff. This should be easy. This is where we come alive. This is where we thrive at. And this is where the perfect time for everybody to hold everybody accountable, but also hold yourself accountable and do what you're supposed to do. We know what we got to do to win. You do that, and the game is easy. We made the game so easy on ourselves in that second half, and it came down to this last shot, of course, with me having the first half that I had, and then be able to recoup in the second half and turn everything around, basically flip the switch. And for it to happen in that game that the coaches are watching, it came down to me at the free throw line, which I still got this video to this day. I can't remember who was recording. I think it was one of my friends recording it. But you were in the front. My dad was in the front. And I think Larry Richardson might have been in the front too.
Yeah, Larry
my
was
dad.
there. Yeah.
So all three of y'all are in the stands. I think you doing like my routine shooting, how I was about to shoot. My dad was like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. And Larry was like holding his hands. And it's just so vivid to me to this day. Yeah. And I made the first free throw, and everybody was like, in the air, it's like a movie scene. It's like quiet in the air, and it going, it's like boom. And then after that, I think I might have missed the second one, but it was just the first one that I had to hit to give us the lead. I think it was tied before I got to the free throw line. And that part again, everything that's running through my mind, it was more so out of the moment. I wasn't even thinking about the moment at that point, because if I thought about the moment too much, that's when you miss. You're focusing too much, and you're too locked in on the moment. You think about the situation, and then I thought about again everything I did before that set me up to put me in a position. It's like, all right, well, you put in all this work for the last 4 or 5 years. Now it's your time. Now this is where it come in, where this is where the work you need to put in. So all that definitely played a part, and it definitely was the time that I had to do what I needed to do. And I was able to do that. After the game, I ended up getting that scholarship, which ended up leading me to being able to secure a 4-year at a Division II school, get my degree, and then again translate that stuff into the next chapter of my life.
I'm thinking about I rode that journey with you all because I was coaching at the time with the girls, so I was able to games was being played at the same time, right? Girls play, so I got to see a lot of that. A couple more games that I enjoyed watching was when y'all played Grand Haven in the districts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was another game, right?
Was we at Zeeland at that game?
Y'all was in Kennewa Hills.
Yep, Kennewa Hills. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that one too. And you hit the game with a shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was about to lose. Y'all
we was.
I was like, oh, coach gonna be pissed at y'all.
We got 10 minutes on this one, and then we're gonna have to restart it. But yeah,
I remember that. And then another game was the one where everybody thought y'all was gonna lose, Grand Rapids Christian.
Yep.
They had 1, 2, 3, 4 Division I players.
And they got 2 pros right now.
Yeah, they had 2 pros right now, and one that won a recent championship. And
yep,
y'all outplayed them. They played them. I remember prepping you that week for them. I know y'all was doing a lot with the team, but I was saying like the mid range got to be hidden and the big
Mm,
got to be shooting on the outside. And
yep.
remember that like it was yesterday, and you guys beat them. That shocked the whole region in this area.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So when people talk about one, at least the Grand Haven game, it's like again, it seemed like we performed when the back was against the wall. Oh shoot. Hold on. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. We still on.
Okay. The
Yeah,
FaceTime I
you
was
always
getting.
can chop it up, right? You can do whatever you want to this, but
Yeah.
I want to get that path laid out because if we're gonna record again, we can go talk
Mm.
about. You can give me about 5 minutes of college, and then I'm gonna get right back into the career stuff again.
All right.
I'm gonna
I
get
was
a
about to
balance.
say we almost can end this one because it's only what 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so I just end this one and just send you a new invite with the fresh time of 40 minutes or whatever you got.
okay. Yeah, then we can go into college, and then just go right back into career and just how to balance the business of college basketball. It's a business,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the business of like, oh, I got classes, what I'm gonna do with my life,
Mm.
and transcending, but also just being able to say, hey, what I'm gonna do, where I'm gonna go. I could stay at the crib. I got both parents. I can go
Yeah.
to family business, right?
Yep.
Just all those things. So just thinking about that
Mm.
in a nutshell, like if you could describe some moments in college, like probably the best experience you had in college. It could be academic, athletic.
Mm-hmm.
What was like an experience you had in college as a college basketball player and a student athlete that you remember it being in Wisconsin Parkside, right?
The same as it was in high school in a different area. I went to college thinking, of course, not really being in college before or not really having nobody to really give me the insights on how college really went close to my age. So went to college. Of course, they tell you you're gonna be playing, you're gonna fit right into the system, and that's not how it went. But again, at that point, it was it was kind of a split in the road at that point because again we talked about this before of like you got two decisions. You can either pout and be mad about it every day, and which I did for a minute. I ain't gonna act like it was just all up and up all the time. It was definitely a time where it got dark. It was like, all right, why am I here? I don't feel like I am enjoying this anymore. I'm not really adding nothing to the team. I'm more just a scout team person. But then it was sometime that I think similar to how I want to say like Lou Williams, he accepted his 6 man role. That was what he was. He not like I'm a starter now. He that's what he liked. That's what he did. At a certain time, I was more so like, all right, if I ain't gonna play in the game in the scout team, I'm an all-star. I'm going off. You feel me? I'm doing what I can. I'm flipping the script. I'm finding some way to have fun with it, even though I might not be adding to the game situation. But during the week in prep, y'all can't tell me y'all didn't get a better look than if I was the person, if I was the person that's supposed to be assistant, the floor general, whatever I was playing. I was that person. And I enjoyed that. Come to my senior year, that was when I was the team captain at that point in college and in high school. But in college, I was a team captain and I accepted more so, like he was talking about at the beginning, like the uncle role. I was more of the seasoned veteran, I guess, person on the team. I had been there for all 4 years, same coach and everybody, but we had newer people who was coming in. And I'm like, well, if I ain't playing, I can also give them some tips or pointers of some game that I didn't get at the beginning when I first came in, which the people that I played with at the beginning of my career was they were a lot older than me. So it wasn't really a lot of people who was a year or two difference. I was the youngest person on the team when I first got there, and everybody else was juniors and seniors. So they was more so on the outs of their career and just like, all right, well, we the man. We're gonna worry about being a man, doing what we do. But
I ain't passing nothing back.
boy, but at the same time, look, Kendall McCullum, which is one of the players who I battled with from the jump when I first got there. He playing overseas right now in a professional career, and
He cold.
he's
He
still
cold.
nice. I'm
I
talking
remember
about
him. Yeah.
top league. So
McCullough. Yeah, he's cold.
again, that type of mentality that he had, I'm like, all right, well, let me transfer it somewhere else because I'm not the man on the court. So I'm off the sideline. Let me see what else I can do to add some value some type of way. And then another one of my good friends, Alec Brown, who he didn't get the chance to play overseas, but he still was a good player. And me and him
Was he
clicked.
like a shooter, a wing? He had a
Yep.
nice jump shot.
Yep. So me and him clicked, and he was there my freshman year. And me and him kicked it around. He's from the Midwest too, so that kind of connection translated to some other stuff. And me and him just kicked it, and I learned a lot from him. And he was more so of like the big brother on campus for me, so that helped me a lot. Then come back down. Another one of my friends, Chip Flanagan, he was a lefty. Um, his story was similar to mine. He didn't play that much when he started off, but then junior, senior year, he almost didn't come out the game. So those people I was able to learn from and pick up different things and then figure out where I could add value to the people who was coming in to kind of hand down the knowledge down the ladder. I felt like I was supposed to do that just because the other people looked out for me. So being able to do that at the college space, and I found joy in that towards the end. It was like, all right, well, whatever pro or not, of course that might have been a dream at the beginning, but towards the end of my career, it's like, all right, it might not be happening, but at the same time, I'm still having fun with this. Regardless, I'm playing or not playing, or if I'm playing a lot, playing not at all. Either way, I'm still having fun. I'm riding this out. I'm getting my degree at the end of the day. So trying to find something that was fun in that was definitely something that I liked the
Yeah,
most.
and I do want to like add on and support in that area because there are things called student athletes that become alumni, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people get in situations like that where everything don't go their way.
Right.
And then they don't understand that basketball in college and football in college is a business. It's a
Absolutely.
business. And you got families that donate a lot of money. You got
Mm-hmm.
generations that come in. You got local kids that come in and say, "Hey, this is my guy now, right? This is the guy
Right.
I've been waiting for. This guy could have been Division 1, and he gonna be with me. And
Mm-hmm.
I had plans for you, but this is the one I'm working with." But then
Right.
also connecting in that space of finishing the process. Like you
Mm-hmm.
show up to a space, and then when you think about a full ride scholarship as an out of state student, that's double tuition, right?
Right.
So they was footing that whole bill, and you walked away debt free.
Yep, for
And
sure.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like now you're able to be this transplant that lives in Baltimore, but you have no student debt,
Mm-hmm.
right? So all you get
Yeah.
is you're planning your retirement early. You're able
Mm-hmm.
to move because you're like, hey, all my bills paid. What about
Yeah.
this? I don't have no debt, right? And that's
Right.
that's what I appreciate hearing from you and all the history of the 21 days, hanging in there, being
Mm-hmm.
persistent, being resilient, and always figuring out what's your role, and playing for a program like the Muskegon Big Reds, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is not my time right now. You're developing, right?
Right.
And if I need you to be this guy, that's what you're gonna be for this program. And when you get your scholarship, you might be a scorer somewhere else, or
Mm-hmm.
for here, you're gonna be this for me.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't realize when we're in a small box of Muskegon County,
Mm-hmm.
think like, oh, I'm supposed to be this, right? And you only averaging 5 points in your high school team because you got other guys that's just as good or better than you. Then you end up leaving that team and you're like, hold up, I'm really good.
Right.
Got to play a role, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that translates to the business model of I'm in a role in a company at a
Right.
job. So when they check your references, hey,
Mm-hmm.
call your college coach. How was it coaching him?
Right.
Right? Call your high school coach. How was it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Call your teachers. So when they emailed me, I was like, hold up, he didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But then I was able to give a synopsis of who you were in high school. So then somebody else would say, hey, this reference of we talked about just being able to say, use all these experiences of from winning games to
Mm-hmm.
winning in life, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when I think about everything, I think about, like you said, the point guard state of mind, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I call that the brick wall mentality.
Facts. Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Yep.
in my life, these 10 things I use in my life, 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in the housing project and we used to have these red and orange bricks on the building.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to look at them all the time. And I used to be like, how they put them together like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to always think like you have to do something intentionally every time you do it.
Yep.
So I've seen you develop, and I was able to write the reference in a space of a mentor. But living in Muskegon and being an educator in Muskegon, I find myself in these three places.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell students this all the time when I'm working with high schoolers. I say I can do three things for you, and I'll do them
Mm-hmm.
anytime you want them. But your state of mind and your decision will determine which one I'm going to write. If you want a reference for
Mm-hmm.
college, a recommendation for a job, that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, if you get in trouble and you want me to talk to the probation officer, the
Mm-hmm.
judge, or the police officer, I'll say, hey, give me one more chance. Give her one more chance.
Mm-hmm.
And three, which I have done, I put some on your obituary.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all based on the choice you make.
100%.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like something like, oh, that's kind of harsh. No, it's not. Because you grew up in our city,
Mm-hmm.
and we see all three scenarios. I'm going to college, going to jail, I'm going to the grave.
Yeah.
So how do you align your life where you can work so hard you can see your future? And the small things you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
putting this brick here, you putting this brick here, you putting this brick here, you put this brick here, and you start to look at that list and say, here's my list of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody say, hey man, get in this car with this gun. Buy these drugs.
That ain't a part of the
Let's
bricks.
get
Ain't a part of the
that ain't part of the 10, baby. And the 10 are these for me, and I practice it myself. That's
team.
why I work out every day. And when I get calls or letter recommendation, I'll be quick to fill them out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I always base it on changing, right? Because when I change and when you change, pain is introduced to us.
Fact. Uh-huh.
All right. So the 10 is health,
Mm-hmm.
charity,
Mm-hmm.
a positive attitude,
Mm-hmm.
religion, some form of God's word, right? In that
Mm-hmm.
positive attitude, you got your purpose, who you are as a person. I'm a husband. I'm a teacher. I'm a mentor in my community, right? I'm an uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I got nieces and nephews. I got sisters and brothers. So I always identify in that space, but I also identify with the new friends I'm making and the new relationships I'm building.
Mm-hmm.
But in those spaces that I'm building, I am looking at how my intelligence is growing. But not only that, the wealth of knowledge I'm gaining, and also the work I get to do every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how I'm thriving in those spaces. So that's the 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being there when you looking at people and say, hey, Coach Chauncey, I need this. I had a student text me this morning and say, hey, could you cash out me $20? I said,
Mm-hmm.
no, I can't do that. I said, what I can do is I can sit down with you and meet you for breakfast and pay for breakfast and talk about your future goals.
Yeah. Because that
Right?
20 is only gonna last you at 20. And then after that, it's just gonna be repetition,
Yeah.
repetition. We need to
And you're
figure
gonna keep
out
on coming
why.
back to me for $20. But if you
Exactly.
sit down with me and have lunch and I say, read this book, let's do
Mm-hmm.
this. What training program you in for work, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting you away from the probation officer and the cemetery, and I'm leading you into a pathway to make a decision. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think about just being able to transition. And I think about it every day, those 10, because it focuses. Everybody got some root of pain that they have. They can make it a broken record. Oh,
Yep.
this coach did this to me. My mama lied about my dad, or all
Yeah.
these things, these issues that hold us back, that keep us from changing, that shames us, where we never be able to hope and be nothing great, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the change is saying that, okay, I was this former person, the person I was in 2014, he's not going to maintain in 2024 and 2025.
Exactly.
But I can use some of his life lessons and stay there with him. And
Mm-hmm.
then just for you, I know we getting point of wrapping it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about like what the journey you've been through with me and other people, and having, so it's a village, right? It's from your parents trusting us, your coaches, your teachers. And
Mm-hmm.
the village has been great to you because you had parents that made you stick to the fire. Because you were like, I ain't doing that.
Yep.
Right? Oh, yeah, you gotta go. I'm driving you, right? Your dad, right? Or your mom, like, yeah,
Ooh-wee.
you gotta go. This, you signed up for this. You said
Yep.
it. You said it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the golden nugget for you through this whole journey, what keeps you just saying, all right, I want more out of life? Because you could easily say, I'm good. I could just chill.
Yeah, right.
What's helping you keep on wanting to strive for more?
You talked about it a little bit, the environment that I have around me and that I've always had around me. Shoot, even before my grandmother and grandfather passed, my grandmother was at whatever practice I needed to go to, I was going. I wasn't acting like I was sick. I wasn't chilling at home. Like I wasn't just sitting around doing nothing. They held me to that, and my dad, that'll be his own episode. I'm gonna get him on here one day, but we just gonna go through everything. Yeah, quitting was not an option. If you want to do something, that's what you're gonna do. Now, the only thing I think I got to pass on was playing football. Once I started playing travel basketball, and that was taking up the rest of my time, that's when it was like, all right, if this is what you're choosing with, you all in. You ain't getting no, oh, we're just gonna chill in the summer. You don't have a regular life like everybody else because they get to do that, and then they might go to college, it might not. But your path of what you doing, you gonna play basketball, and that's gonna be all day, every day. You got free time, but they got a lot of other free time for a lot of other stuff that you not gonna be involved with. And I think that foundation of that being built at the beginning, when I was a kid, and then sooner or later, I don't know when it was, but I just accepted it. I was like, look, man, I hear you. I ain't gonna fight you no more. It probably was when I got to high school, but um, yeah, of course, as a kid, you want to be a kid, and every kid's life is different. Mine was a lot different because I also didn't live in the same communities that everybody else lived in. So that already was one, a target on my back, but two, you can't live like these people. And not in a bad way or a good way or anything, but it's differences. You can't be out 20, 30 minutes away from your house and they 5 minutes down the street. Like they in their community. You're not in their community. So people automatically gonna have a target on your back because you got something that they might want. So having that mentality of, okay, you got a good life now. To keep that good life, you got to do these things and be consistent with it, or else you'll be here today and then it could be gone from you tomorrow. Like you said, getting in the wrong car or being around the wrong people, that's in 5 seconds. I was just listening to Wallow and Gilly talk about it on the Pivot podcast.
Yeah, I
Um,
watched that one the other day. That was good.
yeah,
That was real good.
but he always talk about it. Gilly or Wallow always talk about it with his book that just came out. He like, man, the amount of crime that I did added up to about 4 or 5 minutes, and he did 20 years worth of
20
time.
He just kept on getting caught.
The translation though of he
I
like
wasn't a good criminal. He got caught all the time.
wasn't a good criminal, but the thing is he put it in perspective. He was like, look, that time, that 5 minutes that I spent, if I would have been doing 5 minutes something different, I wouldn't have ended up doing 20 years plus worth of time. Like that one quick mistake or one quick decision can change the rest of your life. And it can be, like you said, or like I said at the beginning, here today and gone tomorrow. Um, so my environment, the biggest thing, the people I kept around me and the people that my parents kept around me and kept away from me at the same time, played the biggest part. And still to this day, the people that I have real established friendships with, um, they still play a part. And without them, I probably would be a lot of places that I am right now. So keeping that consistency and pushing myself and then other people who push me and then I can also push them, that back and forth mutual, I would say competition, but more so competition within ourselves. Like, okay, I see what Jared can do. He doing acting and everything like that. He know he can do this too, but I see it from a different perspective than he do. So me as a good friend, if I don't push him to do what I can see that he can do, I'm wrong for that. At that point, that's my part that I play in that, and that's how I add value. And then also vice versa. If he see me slacking, he gonna get on me. But since we've been friends for 20, I'm 26, we've been friends for 26 years. I know it's not. He not just telling me that just because he just getting on me. He just think I'm just off or whatever. No, he like, no, you have potential and you've put all this work in the beginning, and to throw all of it away, it's crazy. You ain't gonna do that. And again, him as a good friend, he wouldn't do that to me, and I wouldn't do that to him. So yeah, the environment, the biggest thing that kept me straight on a straight path.
Yes, it's at the core where it's a constant reminder. But then it gets to this point too, right here,
Mm-hmm.
in my ripe old age and where I'm at, you find yourself, I wouldn't say isolated, but
Mm.
you have more time to yourself
Mm-hmm.
because your goals, you got that tunnel vision.
Yep.
So in the tunnel vision, only certain people are gonna be able to fit in the vehicle, fit in the room,
Mm-hmm.
in your tunnel vision because you can't tell everybody your ideas. You can't.
Definitely not.
So as you are aspiring to be the best version of yourself, your future
Mm-hmm.
self, always limit on what you share, who you share with, until it's manifested. Like till you
Right.
holding it in your hand, or your name, or the ink has dried,
Yeah.
then it's an announcement. It's like, right?
Yeah.
And
I
then,
just went through that. Two different instances.
yes,
One, I was just talking to my mom yesterday morning, and I was talking to her. I was like, I'm seeing a lot of things that I get from her and my dad that now, as being an adult, I see those things that I translate to them. Um my mom is a couple of things. We were talking about people just gravitating towards us for work stuff or just advice just in general with life and work or anything like that. And she talking about her being a manager and how she kind of like babysitting in a sense. But I felt like me not even being a manager, but me knowing my stuff enough made people gravitate towards me and like, okay, I trust what he say. I think it would be a good idea to get some advice from him, whether it's work, life, whatever. And the other part I get from my dad is staying out the way. Um, I now, even though I'm in a new city, I'm most people go to a new city and like, oh, what clubs or what bars can we go out to find some new friends? I'm like, I don't need no random friends. I got friends, they might not be in the same city, but again, we built that history to where now, even though I live 10 hours away from the crib, ain't nothing but a phone call or a flight to go take. I'm right there. Now, of course, I found new friends playing basketball, which that's the foundation of how I found friends in the beginning anyway. So
yes.
that's how that came natural to me. It wasn't going out to no restaurant or no bar, hanging around random people who I don't know what they going through at that point, but I know the people who playing basketball got something. That's something that we can connect on, um, and that played a big part to when I transferred out here because I'm just going to work and going home when I first came out here until I started playing basketball at this local gym that I play at, and I met some friends that I've been friends with them for 2 years, 3 years. So building that consistency through that and just having the good people around me, like I said, the environment, it helps you, man. You could be in a negative environment or a positive environment, and that can change your whole trajectory on what you do in your life.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I just wanted to wrap with you and just
Mm-hmm.
see where you was at and how you're developing. And because I get this all the time, I have a student email me something, send me something, a presentation that they did, or little things, right? And I'm at a point of like really giving back in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom said, or your dad, I had a CEO tell me this. He said, Chauncey, you want to get to the point in your leadership where it could be a building, a group of people, some students doing something.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know your name, and you made it happen.
Yep.
He said, you could be sitting somewhere and they could be having so much fun or talking about this space or whatever you were a part of to make happen,
Mm-hmm.
and you were a part of to make happen. Everybody's life is better or something, and they don't even know you. He
Yep.
said, get there. That's true leadership. And then he said this. He said, always, if it aligns with your 10, the 10
Mm-hmm.
talk about, he said, always be willing to write the email, send the letter,
Right.
show up to the meeting, because he said the journey of leadership is opening a door for others to the
Mm-hmm.
extent where you taking a second, a minute, or a day, a week, a
Mm-hmm.
month, a year off, wherever you at in life, at your age, you want somebody to be ahead of you when they reach your age.
Right.
That always stuck with me. And that's the evolution of a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
My 25-year-old self is like, hey, what can I do for this person?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then now being at the age I'm at now, like, oh, I did this. You try this.
Mm-hmm.
And get what I got at my age right now.
Exactly.
And that's what we got to do in all this and sharing information and being able to connect. So,
Yeah.
man, I appreciate your time, bro, and proud of you and just keep on doing what you're doing. I'm following, and everything starts out as a seed,
Absolutely.
right? And
Absolutely,
you're doing
man.
what you love, and 3 people showing up, that's just like 3 million, brother.
Yep. Yep. That was also, well, first of all, thank you for coming on
Yeah.
and definitely bringing up the topic to talk about. But that was one of the things that when I started this whole brand and everything, it was post everybody doing everything out of COVID and everything. But I went into it more so like, all right, it's not for the views. You more so documenting your life, talking about what you went through, what your experiences were, and if it affect one person, that's my job is done at that point. It's not even into, well, I need to reach 100,000 or whatever. If it comes with that, cool. And if I stay consistent, it might happen, it might not. I don't have control over that, but I do have control of what I, of course, give back to, like you said, the people who, at my age now, what was I thinking about as a 14-year-old, 13-year-old? What did I not have that I feel like I could add to that person to help them, like you said, come become a better person by the time they get to my age? Then that'll just be another stepping stone, like you said. They'll be like, oh, that advice I got 10 years ago helped me 10 years later. Like it transferred all over and it transferred through everybody's career. So yeah, that was the main goal of the page, and that's the goal that I'm sticking with.
So you over in Baltimore with the crabs and I gotta get I gotta spam my weekend to come. It ain't like I can't afford it, but it's like I
Oh
gotta figure out what
yeah,
I'm gonna drive, fly, drive.
I'm here, man. I'm here. Yes,
Yeah, come
anything
down and just hang out. But
for
yeah,
sure.
I appreciate being able to do one of the three for you.
For
Make
sure.
the recommendation, right?
I appreciate that too.
Because that's the life I live. Recommendation, probation officer, and obituary.
Hmm.
And
And like you said, it's based off of the history, the records you got with that person. You ain't
yeah,
gonna never. Of course, you might not hold grudges, but you don't never forget nothing like that. The stuff that you do, it hold weight for regardless of how long you're here. It sticks with that person. So yeah, if
it's
you
hard to
got,
find information when you playing around with your life.
yeah.
Hey, I say something good about him.
I don't know.
He brushes teeth every day.
No, yeah.
It can get
So,
hard like that, right?
oh, for sure.
And
Yeah.
then now you acting funny when you can't say something good about somebody, right?
Yep.
But it's
Yep.
like it's the habit of every day, second, minute, hour, week, year, month. And you
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm gonna do this. It's 21 days. I'm gonna do
Yep.
this. 42. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And then you
And
look up, you be like, that's who I am. And like,
mm-hmm.
that is who he is.
Yeah, and until you go through that, you can't explain that to nobody.
Okay. And people that got it, when they see it, they know it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, he trained or he got that sauce on him, right?
Yeah, he did
He
something.
got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sauce on her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the love. And that creates a better community and a group of people that want to uplift everybody. So yeah, man, enjoy your
Absolutely.
rest of your Saturday, brother. I would love to see what it's gonna look like when you chop it up. I know that's what you do.
Most definitely. Yeah. And I'm gonna post the other one too. I'm gonna post the other one first, and then this one gonna come after this. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be a two-part. And I'm mad that because we had that one we recorded at Oakview in the
Yeah,
gym, but we'll do that on another day. Just sit down and talk in person. So yeah, I
yeah.
appreciate the opportunity though, man.
Anytime, bro.
All right, man.
Peace.
All right, peace.